Okay, welcome everyone. This is Premier Chess Adult Beginner. This is the summer 2021 class, and this is week 11, the final week. So I got a submission from Gene, and we're going to go over his game from his chess club, and I got a couple more that I played. Again, one from Adam, me and you, Adam. So you're on deck again, Adam. And then I think I have someone else as well. All right, so let's go over some of this Gene game. So d4, d5, c4. All right, so real quick, what's the name of this opening?
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Yeah. So general Queen's Gambit, right? So if Black were to take the pawn on c4, what would it be called then?
Accepted.
Queen's Gambit accepted, yeah. And if he goes e6 or c6, it would be Queen's Gambit declined. And now, why do I not consider the Queen's Gambit a typical Gambit type opening? Why is that not? I consider like it's slightly inaccurate. Why?
It's not really a gambit because it's too easy to get the pawn back.
Yeah. It's in my mind, a gambit is where one player sacrifices a pawn or a knight sometimes to gain usually attack or initiative or an increase in positional advantage. And they're not expecting to recapture or how do you say to gain back the material so quickly, right? What their goal is in gambiting the material is what we just said, is a gain in attack or initiative. Right, that's really the exchange that they want for the sacrifice material. So c4. So typical responses here are e6 and c6, right? Because another reason why I don't like d takes c4. Why do you guys? Other than it's not really a gambit and it can be easily won back. Maybe like queen a4, or maybe e3. So why is taking the pawn not usually a good idea in my mind?
You lose the center pawn right off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you're kind of handing over the center to white, right? So now we have two pawns in the center occupying and controlling the center. And now the bishop's ready to recapture, further controlling the center even more, and then putting pressure on the sensitive f7 pawn, right? So you don't want to concede the center willingly, right? You want to fight for the center. So this is kind of decoying your pawn away from the center, right? So you're ceding control of the center. So you rarely want to do that. You don't want to do that. All right. So Jane responds with knight f6. Not such a good move. I don't recommend this move because, again, actually, let me ask you guys, why do you think I don't like this move as much?
Pins the pawn. I mean, limits the pawn on f7.
F7. No, no, definitely the f pawn. We don't want to move this one because then we don't want to open up this diagonal for the king. So knight f6 is not a bad move for that reason, or not inaccurate for that reason. What's another reason why I don't really like it?
If white takes the pawn and the knight takes, then it's easy to attack the knight.
How would you attack the knight here?
D4, pawn to d4.
E4, right?
E4.
E4, yeah. So E4, and again, just like the other scenario where he took the pawn. So instead of keeping a pawn here or going E6 and D6, E6 or C6, and then replacing the center pawn, now we have a knight here, which is easily kicked away, right, by this pawn, and now we have white has a beautiful pawn center here, and maybe even he can push f4 and knight f3, and so the center is strong. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that's the reason I don't like defending the center pawn with a minor piece, right? It's too early. It's too early to bring out the minor piece so quickly, and it can get easily kicked around by pawns, and you don't want to see the center, right? So that's one reason.
So what's a good move at that point?
Say again?
Instead of bringing the knight out, what would have been a good move?
So yeah. So what do you guys think? What do you think a good move here instead of knight f6? Yeah. So Keon says e6. Yeah, e6 is a good move, right? That's considered right. He takes, and now the center is still contested. Black is fighting for the center with the pawn still on d5. And then after that, now we can bring our knight to f6, maybe bishop e7 and then castle, all right, something like that, and then game will continue. Yeah, c6 is also a possibility, definitely. So either one is okay. Yeah, either one is fine. But yeah, knight f6 is I think a little bit more passive, a little bit. All right. So then, all right. So do you remember what you did next? After knight f6, what did white do?
White played bishop to g5.
Bishop g5, bishop f. Okay, bishop g5. All right. Interesting move, putting pressure on the knight. I mean, this bishop is kind of out there. It's kind of weird to bring the bishop all the way. Again, bishops before knights not usually recommended. Why? Because the pawn over here is unprotected, right? So I mean, right now the queen can't come here to put pressure on the pawn, but it just looks kind of strange. All right. So what would you guys play if the bishop comes out here? What would you guys play? What do you think? What do you think would be a good move for black here?
H6.
H6. Let's see. H6. Okay, maybe a good move here would be bishop takes the knight, even though I often say bishops are generally considered slightly stronger. So okay, so let's see what happens. So how would you respond? Take with the G pawn, take with the E pawn. What do you think?
I would take with the E pawn.
Okay, so take with the E pawn, right? So now what I see is now again white can take the D pawn, and now again white has nice center control with the two pawns, right? And now the knight comes here, developing the minor piece, the knight, and attacking the queen, and then maybe preparing e4, right? So again, black has kind of lost control of the center a bit, right? A little bit. All right. So another idea I would do. What's another move here for black? What do you guys think?
E7.
E6, right?
E6.
E6,
preparing for the move the bishop to.
Right. E6 is fine. E6 is fine. Now, if he takes here, now you replace it with the E pawn, and now you still have a center pawn. That's good. Another idea, I think, just kind of taking advantage that this knight is not pinned yet, right? The knight can just jump to E4, even though, that's kind of violating one of the opening principles, which is don't move the same piece twice in the opening. But here, the bishop is kind of unprotected, so the knight can jump to E4 kind of with tempo. What does that mean real quick? With tempo, what does that mean? Yeah, so Kian says you get an extra move. So how do you get an extra move though? What does that mean? What do you mean get an extra move?
Well, you've developed the knight a little bit better, and you're attacking at the same time.
Right. So develop the knight like to a centralized location, very good, and attacking this bishop, which is unprotected, right? And he can, of course, protect the bishop, but of course, I would then just maybe capture the bishop because then you would have the bishop pair, and that's usually a very nice advantage, right? So he would probably want to retreat the bishop somewhere, h4 or f4, and so now you just have a very active and centralized knight, and yeah, game would continue. Okay, so let's go on. So oh no, we went bishop g5. Okay, so bishop.
I played bishop to f5. Yeah.
Oh, bishop to f5. Right. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so bishop to f5. All right, interesting move. All right. I mean, again, I see something like this happening.
That's exactly what happened too.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
All right, I'm predicting. I didn't even look forward to this game yet, but okay. All right, so bishop g5, bishop f5. Let me just make sure. So bishop f5, knight c3, c6. So not yet. Not yet. Knight.
Yeah, it was the next move.
Yeah, so knight c3, knight c3, and then c6. Okay, good. So you're supporting your center. Very good. And then we have bishop takes f6. Okay. Bishop e takes f6. All right. So bishop takes here, takes here. All right. And now so white to move. What do you think would be a good move for white here? What do you guys think?
I'm just having a tough time reading the two-dimensional pieces. I'm just
Olga, right?
yes, it's probably third time I'm looking at the two-dimensional board. It's just
Olga, you don't have a Elite Chess account? You don't play on Elite Chess much or chess.com?
No, I just play like physically, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's tough for me to just.
Oh shoot, sorry about
okay.
that. I mean, there's a way.
Okay, I guess it's a practice. I don't know.
Yeah, there's actually, yeah, you can like change the look to make it three-dimensional, but I guess I'm just so used to playing online, so oh, shoot. Yeah, I've heard some people have a hard time with that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you just gotta play more online, you get used to it. All right, so what do you guys think? White to move, what's the best move here? What do you think? White to move.
Develop the knight.
Okay, so you can develop the knight. That's a good general logical move towards the center. Okay, anything else?
How about pawn to e3? Yeah.
Pawn to e3. Okay, good. That's also another good move. Opening up the bishop. Maybe bring the bishop to e2, or maybe even d3, and challenge this bishop. So, because currently this bishop has complete control over the h7 to b1 diagonal. It's pretty strong bishop. All right, so Kian says queen to b3. So let's look at that. Queen b3 is also good. So that's hitting the b7 pawn and putting extra pressure on this this pawn here. I like queen b3, but I think first we can kind of create a weakness. How does white create a weakness in black's camp here? What do you think?
Is there a downside to white pushing the c pawn?
Push here c5, or let's see. I guess that's possible.
No, but if he does that, then black can push the b6 and just trade the pawns. And
You
have
could
it out.
push. You could push, but actually, the best move I think for white in this case wouldn't be to take. What do you think would be the best move here?
E4,
Say again.
E4,
Oh, bishop e4 here.
white or black move.
No, here it's on white to move. So what would be the best move for? Oh, sorry for white. Sorry, you're right. Okay, so e4. E4. Let me see. Okay, you're giving up this pawn, but for what? Where's the compensation though? Right, and let's see compensation. All right, so let's go back. So currently black is threatening to win a pawn here, right? So if so Gene says take the pawn. So if you take the pawn, if white takes the pawn, who's benefiting now after this trade? Who benefits?
Black.
Why does
Black.
black benefit here? How does black benefit?
He's got an open rook and he's connected his pawns again.
Right, yeah, the pawns are very healthy and strong, and the rook has a half open file, putting pressure on a2. And yeah, and black's position is very comfortable right now. So taking would actually help black. So I don't think white should take the pawn. So what else can white do here? What do you think?
Knight to a4, even though it's on the rim, it might work here.
Knight to a4. All right, that actually loses a pawn. Can anybody see how that loses a pawn? What do you think?
Yeah, black takes the pawn, white takes the pawn back.
Now what?
You got queen to a5 check.
Queen a5. Okay, that is one way. And actually, would it be a good idea if the queen blocked?
No, because then he loses the knight.
Very good. Yeah, the queen is protecting the knight here, right? So in fact, the knight is probably forced to come back, and then taking the pawn here. And now look how beautiful what black's position is here. This bishop on f5 has great scope. This bishop on c5 has great scope. And, you know, castling, bring the rook over, and black's doing a great job. So that's really great. And actually here, black is even automatically threatening d4, winning the knight immediately due to the pin, right? So black, so yeah. So knight a4, not such a good move. Okay, what else? What else can white do? What do you think? Oh, so I see Keon says push b5. Oh, you said b4? b4, right? Yeah, b4, yeah. Yeah, b4. That's the move I was thinking about, because now now this pawn is very strong, very fortified. And so now if he takes here, let's see, how would you take back with this, with the D pawn or with the B pawn? What do you guys think? What does everyone think?
I like taking with the B pawn, but I don't know if it's the right one.
So if we take with the you said take with the D pawn?
With the B pawn.
Oh, B.
B is
Okay, so B pawn, let's see. I mean, so Keon says if you take with the B pawn, you allow this pin. It's not really that strong of a pin though. He can break it immediately. And this pawn is really annoying here. So that's interesting. I mean, this pawn is a little bit, it's definitely weak. These are two isolated pawns, so a little bit weak. And currently white cannot take control of the B file due to the bishop here controlling B1. So, all right, so let's go back. So what if he takes with here? With that, with the D pawn, that's interesting too. And again, we can try to attack the base as a little pawn chain, right? So we can try to attack the base this way, but then here, it's not the same as before, because now we can take, and now there's no pin because the rook is protected by the queen. So, I mean, it's debatable whether this is a weakness or not, right? If somehow, you know, white gets in b5, it could be a pretty nice position for white because this pawn is still advanced. So yeah. All right. So let's go back. All right. So yeah, I would say c5. It looks like a strong move. May or may not work out. May or may not. Doesn't always work out. So here, what I was thinking about here to create a weakness, I was thinking about taking automatically on d5, and then c takes. And now what kind of pawn is this?
Isolated.
Yeah, isolated pawn, very weak, right? Very weak. So now what would be a good response for white here? What do you guys think?
I still like E3.
E3. Okay, so E3 opens up the bishop. True.
And
All right.
creates a bit of a, you know, supports the center pawn.
Yeah, it's true. I think white has a much stronger move. So Keon says queen to B3. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Queen to B3. Now, why is that a stronger move?
It attacks the D pawn and the B pawn.
Yeah, so basically it's a fork, right? Very nice fork. And is there a way for black to protect both? What do you think?
Bishop to E6.
Yeah, so he can try bishop e6, then this pawn falls here, right? So there really, yeah, is no way to protect both. So yeah, it's pretty nice position for white. White's beginning to dominate, right? And this pawn is still weak and would be picked off likely very soon. And after maybe e3, and then the bishop can come here and attack the king even more. So yeah, it's becoming difficult for black here. All right, so let's go back. All right, so in the game, so he takes, and then what was the move that white played? Do you remember?
White, I don't know why he did this. He played F4.
Let's see. F4, bishop.
Yeah, number
D2,
6
yeah.
moves, he played F4.
All right. So let's see. So F4. Wow, interesting move. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Don't know why.
to me, just taking the pawn, creating the weakness is much better. Or just even normal developing, or E3, opening up to bishop. Yeah, F4 is kind of strange, but okay. All right. So F4, and then what did you play?
Brought the bishop back to D6.
Bishop, D2. I assume bishop D7 here. You wrote bishop D2, but I mean, I assume you meant bishop D7.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, because you can't go to D6.
Yeah, D. Yeah.
Oh,
You
wait,
wrote,
no, I think I brought the other bishop out. I
you
did, I
wrote
brought the
bishop. You
other
wrote here bishop D2.
Oh, okay, bishop D2.
Yeah, so I assume you mean
And
bishop
in my
D7.
book, I have that I played bishop to D6.
Oh, bishop D6. Oh, okay. So this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more
Right.
sense. Okay. All right. So you're attacking the pawn here, unprotected pawn. All right. What would you guys play for white? What would you play for white here? What do you think?
E3.
Say again.
E3.
Okay, so E3, defending the pawn. All right. All right. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that this pawn is unprotected, right? So in general, center pawns are just slightly more valuable than side pawns, right? So F pawn, C pawn, and they're much more valuable than, let's say, the G or H pawn, and then the A and B pawns, right? So if we can trade a center pawn for one of our side pawns, that would be even better. So here I see that this pawn is now being blocked by the queen. The bishop is blocking the queen, so the pawn is not defended twice. So now why not just take here, right? Take here, and then if he takes back here, what would you play? What do you think would be a good move here?
Capture with the knight.
Yeah, capture with the knight, right? So now actually from here, the knight just gained a pawn, and also the knight is protecting F4 also. So he can't even take this. He can't even do a discovered attack and take this the pawn here, because the knight will just take back, right? He can't even do a discovered check here, try to pick up the knight, because the knight will just capture the bishop there, right? Knight takes B4. So yeah, all right. So that's what I initially think is the best move for white. So let's see, what did white do here? E3 castle. All right. So he goes E3, and then black castles. Okay. All right. Bishop B4. Okay, so now general developing, knight F3, bishop B4. All right. Okay. So let me ask you, Gene, why did you not develop this knight? So this is the last minor piece that you have that's not developed. Why did you not develop it to D7 or A6? What do you think?
I should have.
Well, maybe
maybe
bishop B4 was better though. But I'm just saying, any reason why you didn't? What do you think? So let's say you went knight D7. All right. So what do you all think? What's the best move for white here?
Probably C5.
No, I think stronger than C5. What do you think? Stronger than C5.
Yeah, white can play C takes D5.
Yeah, so this pawn is hanging again, right? Attacked twice and
Right.
only defended once, right? So yeah, takes, and now again he wins a pawn there, right? Very simply. And white's up a pawn, right? So yeah, so it's probably a good idea that either you pin the knight, or maybe just take. I mean, I don't know if take would be such a good idea, because then you're going to give him the center. So if you take here, he can take the center immediately with E5, right? Defended by the knight, and now he's got a very sturdy pawn center. And then let's say you move back here. Now, how would you continue? How would you continue now? What do you think would be a good move here?
For white?
Yeah. So let's say you took the pawn, he goes e4, you go back to g6. What would be a good move here for white? How would you consolidate your control?
The pawn to f3 forces the bishop to go again.
Pawn to f4, f5, you mean?
F4,
F5.
F5.
Okay, so you could do that. I mean, it doesn't really do much. I mean, now the bishop is just pinning your knight. Yeah, I think there's a stronger move than that. What do you think?
E5.
Yeah, e5, definitely. Yeah. Now look, how powerful these pawns become, right? So now f takes e5, f takes e5, and now these pawns are very strong, right? And he's attacking your bishop, and he's going to take this pawn in the next move, develop his bishop, and now look how dominating his position is becoming, right? Takes, and even if you try to win this pawn here, maybe he can just protect it with that, and yeah, this is a very nice position for white, right? Very nice.
Good thing I brought the bishop out earlier.
So yeah, let's see. So it's very important to not allow him to do this move. So that's why it's so important to maintain a pawn in the center, right? You want to maintain control over e4, right? So bishop b4, probably a good move. Yeah, probably a good move. All right, so bishop b4, and then what was the next move white played? Do you remember?
Queen to b3.
Queen.
Move number 9, right?
Queen
Wait,
b2.
that's not what we have up
queen,
there.
yeah, queen e3. Okay, queen b3, right? Yeah. Okay, and then I think you took here, right?
Right, because it was with check.
Yeah, check. And now how did he take back? B takes.
He had b takes the bishop on
okay.
c3.
Okay. All right. So now,
I have to play b6, otherwise I'm losing a rook.
yeah. So he's coming down on your b7 pawn. So what do you think? So b6 is a possibility. You can protect it that way. You can also protect it with queen c7. What do you think? What does everyone think? Good move? Queen c7? What do you guys think?
I liked b6 better, but
You like b6 better?
yeah.
Well, queen c7, it kind of sets up a nasty little trick, because now it looks like white can win this pawn, but it would be a very bad idea if white won the pawn. Do you see why? Yeah. Keon sees it. Wait, are you messaging? Yeah, you're messaging me directly. Okay, I thought you were messaging everyone. All right. So what do you guys think? Anybody see why white winning this pawn would be a bad idea? Anybody tell me?
Yeah, then queen to a5.
Okay, so after c takes d5, c takes d5, queen takes d5, queen a5, you lose your queen here. All right, so I'll make the moves. I think you guys are going to see it immediately after I make the moves. So c takes, queen takes. Now what can black do?
Well, you could
Oh,
takes
Queen takes
three.
c5, c3.
Yeah, now you all see very clearly, right? Queen takes c3, ends up in a fork, and that's going to win the rook here, right? So not such a good idea. All right. So yeah, so that would be an example of what? The pawn seemed like it was free, but in fact it was not free, right? But what is that called? Anybody know what that's called? What do we call it? Poison pawn. Yes, poison pawn. Exactly. Do not eat the poison pawn. Very important. Okay. All right. So queen c7. So how did you? Oh, you went b6 here. All right. All right. And then what was next? B6. C5,
white played
rook
c5.
C5. Okay. Not such a good move. I don't like that move. Why? Why do I not like that move?
Well, I played rook to e8, which,
Oh, so you didn't do anything about it. Oh, so you just went rook
no, I
e8.
brought that.
Okay. I mean that's fine too because you're also attacking this unprotected pawn, which is
Right,
fine.
and I have a check if he doesn't move it.
Right, right. So okay, so there's another reason why I don't like this yeah, the c5 move. Why? Why do I not like c5? Yeah, so Kian got it. Yeah, so this is a very nice pawn structure right here, right? These pawns are pretty strong. But now with c5, b takes c5. Now look at this pawn. All of a sudden it's destroyed, right? All of a sudden you have, this is called double isolated pawns. Very weak. Why? Because there's no pawn protection on either side of it, right? In the D file or the B file. So these pawns cannot protect their brothers on the C file, and so very weak and easily to pick off. But no, yeah, okay. So queen, okay, so queen B7 doesn't really trap the rook. All right, so let's look at that. So what if takes? So now queen B7. What do you think? Does that win the rook? What do you guys think?
No.
Yeah.
No, because I
Yeah.
can play knight.
Knight
Yeah.
moves out of the way, right?
Yeah, so knight moves out of the way, and the game goes on. Yeah. So all right, so let's go back. All right, so yeah, so c5, I don't like it for that reason. All right, so you went rook e8. Okay, so rook e8 attacking the sensitive, the weak pawn on e3. Very good move. I like it. Again, developing with tempo, right? With tempo, very important. You can develop and attack at the same time, even better. All right, so rook e8, king f2, knight d7. Okay, so
He
king
played
f2.
king to f2.
Yeah, king f2, good. So you went knight d7. I mean, I would just take this immediately. Why not? And destroy his pawn structure, and then you can play knight d7, right? So if you
Yeah,
take
that's-
here,
That's what I should have done.
now you go here. Now look how easy this pawn is to pick off, right? Very easy. Right? How is he gonna? He can try to protect it with. I mean, he can try to protect it with maybe this, but then you do something like queen e7, and now there's no way that he can protect this anymore, right? And it's a goner. And actually, queen e7 does two things. Queen e7 is actually threatening queen takes e3 and taking on c5. So you have a double threat there. Very nice. All right. So yeah. So that's a great idea to keep in mind constantly is, how can I prevent my pawn structure from being destroyed, and how can I destroy my opponent's pawn structure, right? So they say one of my favorite quotes about chess is chess is not for the kind-hearted, right? Your goal is to destroy your opponent. If you want to be a nice person, maybe you shouldn't be playing chess. All right. So rook e8, king f2, and knight d7. Okay, what did he play? Knight d7, c4, b takes c5. Okay, c4. Okay, so that's good. He's trying to kind of get rid of your pawns here. C4, and then I think you took here, right?
Right.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So some exchanges are going to happen. So this king is not so safe, I'd say. I'd say this king is kind of in peril a little bit. So you gotta, if you can take advantage of that, it's kind of difficult. I mean, you can do this little threat here, but he can protect that way. Also, the queen is protecting e3 anyway. But okay. So b takes c5, and what did he do? C takes d5, c takes d5. All right, so he took here. All right. All right, take here. And now what did he do?
He played
Yeah.
queen takes d5, and then I
Right.
just brought the bishop back to e6, attacking the queen again.
All right, so bishop e6 is a good move. I think slightly better would have been bishop e4, right? Why is that slightly better? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, he has to move the queen, and then I can play bishop takes knight, and it screws up his protection around the king.
Okay, you can trade the bishop for the knight. That's true, but I don't think you would want to. This bishop is very strong, centralized, and has a lot of scope here. So for the moment, probably a good idea to keep this bishop here. But the idea is just centralize the bishop with tempo, much stronger than bishop e6, right? Much stronger. So that's what I would play. All right, so bishop e6, and then where do you move his queen? Queen c6, he takes d4. All right, takes. Yeah, and also the other thing is this bishop is kind of blocking your rook, right? So your rook
Right.
has less scope now. So that's also another downside to that one. All right, so c takes, knight takes, bishop a to c8. Oh, I think you mean rook a to c8, right? Yeah, rook a to c8. All right, so attacking the queen. All right. All right, where does he go? Knight takes, okay. Okay, so knight takes. Okay, interesting. Yeah, definitely don't go for a queen trade, right? So if you go rook takes, knight takes, you're basically trading queens, and that's actually helping him, right? Why? Because this king is kind of not really in a safe position, and it's kind of going to take a while to get this rook activated. So you want to keep as many pieces on the board as you can, right?
Right,
So
that's why I played rook e takes the.
yeah,
knight.
yeah. So that was a good move. Rook takes e6. Now you're really attacking the queen, and you're even threatening to come here and begin to attack the king that way. And then maybe eventually you can get in queen b6 and threaten mate. That would be mate. If you were to get the queen to e3, that would be mate, right? So you can see how weak this king is on f2, right? So not such a comfortable position. All right. All right. So rook takes e3, queen d5, rook c2, queen d5. Yeah, very good. Now you control the second rank. What is the saying? What is the saying that I always say? Anybody know the saying of the rook from black's perspective? When you get the rook on the second rank, or from white's perspective, you get the rook on the 7th rank. What is the saying? Anybody know?
Pigs on the second or pigs on the
Yeah, pig on the second, right? Why do we say that?
gobble everything up.
Yeah, because the pawns, a lot of the pawns tend to be still on their opening positions, and it's just very easy to attack them with a rook. And then even stronger, if you're able to get your second rook and double the rooks, woo, very strong, very powerful, right? So rooks are very powerful on the second ranks for black and the 7th rank for white, right? All right, so rook c2 check, very good move. Let's see, bishop e2, rook c3, bishop e2. Okay. All right. Rook c3. Okay, so I see a much stronger move. I see a much stronger move than rook c3. Anybody can find a much stronger move? What do you think?
Stronger than C2 or C3?
Stronger than rook c. So Eugene played rook c3, so he's focusing on this pawn here. But I think there's a much stronger move here. What do you think?
I could have played rook to c5.
Rook c5. Okay, you're attacking the queen, but again, your rook is no longer on the second. You want to keep your rook there, definitely.
Right.
If you can, yeah, you definitely want to keep your rook there. So what's another good move? What do you think?
How about rook 5? I'm sorry, rook to b6.
Rook to b6. Not strong enough. Not strong enough. I mean, okay, I see that you're trying to double your rooks, but maybe he can just come here, and now he's threatening to win the knight. Then actually the knight is pinned to your queen. Knight can't move. And even if you do double your rooks, he can even protect his bishop. And now it seems like your knight will probably be lost. So yeah. So what's another move here instead of rook b6 or rook c3? What do you think?
Well, queen b6.
Yeah, queen b6. Why is this a stronger move? What do you think? Anybody can tell me?
You got two pieces. You got two pieces on e3.
Yeah, 2 pieces on e3. And one thing also that I noticed is black does have a little bit of a back rank weakness, right? There are no escape squares for this king, right? So now the queen can come down here to a8, but it'll be okay though, because the knight can still protect here. And now look how powerful this position is. This rook's coming down on e3, queen's coming down on e3. Bishop is pinned, right? So White's best hope, I think. What do you think White's best hope is in this position? What's White's best move? So Kian, you said one of the rooks to the E file. What do you mean? The E file. One of the rooks is already on the E file. Right?
Well, is it White's move or Black's move?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah. So sorry. Oh, White's sorry. I'm confused. Right. All right. So one of the rooks here. No, actually that's not such a good move.
How about
Why?
Rook to B1?
Why is that not such a good move? Anybody can tell me? Let's just go along this for a minute. Why is that not such a good move?
You're still kind of screwed because you don't have enough defenders. So you're still just going to get destroyed one way or another. Your bishop's probably going to fall.
So what's Black's best move here?
I would honestly probably just like take the pawn with the queen, and then when the king moves, take the other pawn, and then you're just dancing.
Actually, even stronger than taking this pawn. What's even stronger?
I don't know.
What's even stronger than taking the pawn?
Oh, taking the bishop with the rook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 1, 2, 3 attackers on this bishop and 2 defenders, right? So we take the bishop, threatening mate immediately, and White can resign, but he doesn't have to, of course. So yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yes, he does.
he can resign if he wants, and now you can even come back queen e3, and now he's got 2 choices. So if he comes back to f1, now you can take this pawn with check, right? So that's even better. And now if he goes back, now you win even more material. What do you think? Best move here.
Queen D4.
Yeah, queen d4, and we got a fork, right? Very nice fork, and yeah, it'd probably be best to resign then. But of course he doesn't have to. And if he goes king, if he goes king to h1, that would be a horrible move. Even worse. Why?
You can sack queen for mate here.
Yeah, yeah. So now we have mate in 2, and that's the end of the game, right? So yeah. All right. So let's go back. Let's go back. So yeah. So this focal point e3 is really a big weakness in White's camp, and the fact that the king is here on f2, also another big weakness, right? So yeah, queen b6, very, very powerful move. Okay, so he goes rook c3 here. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock. We're almost gonna finish up. Don't worry. Rook c3, rook hd1, rook takes e3. Okay, rook h to d1. Okay, so now White's attacking the knight, and okay, Black takes with the c pawn, I think, right? Right, Eugene? Yeah. And then
I think I messed it up over here. If you go
bishop
back,
b5.
is my queen was on b6.
Your queen was on b6 already?
Yeah, my queen was on b6.
Well, now here it says after bishop b5, here you go queen b6.
Right.
Yeah. So now I think it says
Yeah, he threw the check.
check.
I brought the knight back to protect it.
No, actually here it's a mistake.
Yeah, he made
he-
the mistake. He took the knight because he thought here's what happened.
You
He
moved the knight
thought-
here?
Yes, the knight was there and it was my move. No, the knight was on d7. So when he threw the check, I brought the knight to
Oh, to
Eight.
f8. Oh, here.
to
Okay.
f8. Now he thought he could take and I'd have a, what do they call it?
Mate?
Because he thought, a mate, because he thought the rook could come down
Oh,
and he'd have a mate.
no.
But then he realized that my queen covers that square.
Yeah, not only the queen, but also the rook can block. Also, the king can come up here. So 3 different ways you can deal with that.
Yeah.
So definitely not a mate. So let's go back really quick. So this check is actually a big mistake Not
Right.
because of knight b7. What's also a great move here for black? Anybody can see a great move? So queen a8 check, black to move. What do you think? Good move for black.
Oh, black can play the
E8.
rook on E3 to D2 check. And it's a double
Um,
check from the queen and
Rook.
the,
Well,
and the
no.
rook.
Black's in check right now. So black has to do something about the check.
oh,
Interpose his rook.
Yeah. So rook e8, definitely. So now we have the rook attacking the queen. Also, look at this. This is a set. This queen is setting up.
Yeah.
This queen is setting up to do a discovered check, which is very powerful. And yeah, that's going to be really difficult to deal with. Most likely, white's going to lose his queen, and yeah, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, good game, Gene. Very good. So. I think I think we learned a lot from
Yeah.
that one. What do you guys think? You guys enjoy that?
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to go over your beginning moves because I made some mistakes in the beginning that he could have taken advantage of.
Yeah. So yeah, the opening was good. He created a few weaknesses on e3, and also I think you could have ruined his pawn structure a little bit more. And I think he overextended himself with c5. You could have taken advantage of that. But yeah, very good game. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed that, and hope many of you would sign up next semester. I think it's so he said it starts in 2 weeks, right? So I think it starts on the
We're off next week.
right. So Monday, September 6th, I think, right?
Was
So-
there an email about that?
Yeah, I think he did send the email. I can send you all. Well, if you want to, I don't have all of your email addresses, but those of you who I do have it, I mean, if you wanted to send me your email, I can send you the information also, or you can also just email Evan as well. But yeah, he did send an email with the schedule for the fall.
Could you resend that? I'm
Yeah,
not
sure. Yeah, I can send that. That's fine.
Danilo, you'll be teaching that class, right?
Yeah. So I'm teaching the Monday, the same time, I believe. Same Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Great.
And yeah, and I'm also teaching another class, it's a homeschooling class. So if any of your kids want to sign up, I think that's Wednesdays, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if anybody wants to sign their kid up for that, that would be cool. All right. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe I'll see you guys in September.
Very good, Danilo. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Care,
Great to
everybody.
Thank you.
Great to see
Bye
you all.
now.
Take care. Bye.